Hello, my lovely viewers, this is RCH. Today we are going to be discussing gyaru, aka gal. I want this video to be a brief yet in-depth look. The first question that might pop into your mind is what is gyaru? First, let's talk about the style. Gyaru is a Japanese style that originated in Shibuya, which is a part of Tokyo. It encompasses many different fashion and makeup styles. The clothing is usually revealing with low-cut shirts and short skirts, dresses, and shorts. Prints such as animal print are very popular within the style. Long, usually decadent nails are worn by the majority of gyaru. Tan skin is also popular, although not necessary. Long, big blonde hair is also very popular. Let's take a closer look at the hair, shall we? The hairstyles differ between different styles, but gyaru hairstyles are very iconic. Bleach blonde long hair. Curls and waves are seen, as it is the opposite of the straight-haired beauty standard of Japan. It can also be dyed in many different colors and comes with a variety of styles. The hair is big and very teased. The hair of gyaru is very important to the whole aesthetic. One of the first things many people notice when looking at pictures of gyaru is the eye makeup. This makeup style is such a huge element that you can't really be gyaru without it, according to my research. The eye makeup consists of big false lashes, eyeliner, and a little bit of white under the eye. Most gals have full faces of makeup. Contouring, highlighting, and lipstick or lip gloss are commonly seen. Clothing varies greatly between the many styles, but there are key traits worth noting. The fashion varies from hyper-feminine to somewhat androgynous, but is generally at least somewhat feminine. The cuts of the shirts are low, and shorts are cut very short. You could pretty much do anything within these guidelines. If you want to try out the style, it is recommended to look at pictures to really get the feel for the way that garments are presented and which ones to look for. Some gyaru shop in high-profile luxury brands such as Louis Vuitton and Chanel, but you can find clothing second-hand or at places like Zara if you're lucky. There are many gyaru brands such as Coco, Mars, and DIA. Gyaru is more than just a fashion style though, as it is also a subculture and a lifestyle. Common activities are going to the mall, shopping, and partying. Groups of gyaru are called circles. There are two types of circles, namely nakosa and ivisa. Nakosa are circles that just casually hang out like friend groups usually would. Meanwhile, ivisa are more formal, as they do things such as event hosting and party planning. Famous gyaru circles are, for example, Black Diamond and Angelique. There's more gyaru lingo, such as terms used to describe different styles, events, and concepts. Gyaru isn't a music genre, but there is music generally listened to by gyaru. It sounds a lot like Eurotechno had a baby with disco, to me at least. I'm no expert. Gals do dancing, that's an objective fact, but there's one specific style that is often danced by them, and that is para-para. Para-para is a form of synchronized dancing. I see it as the original TikTok dances. It is impossible to talk about gyaru culture without talking about the magazines, and the most iconic one, which is the one I'll briefly touch on today, is Egg. Egg magazine is undoubtedly the most iconic gyaru magazine. It was released in September of 1995 and ceased publication during the decline of gyaru in 2014. Now let's talk about the history of gyaru. It began as a way to rebel against the Japanese beauty standards in the mid-1990s. The early look consisted of tan skin, bleached hair, and a little bit of white around the eyes. The original style is called kogal. The term is a combination of the words kokosei gyaru, meaning high school gal. At this time, most gyaru were in high school, so the uniform was a big part of the look. Outside of school, however, kogals were seen wearing short, tight skirts and dresses as well as chunky platform boots. The rebellious attitude that gyaru is centered around became apparent as soon as the style began to become popular. They were never afraid of being different or loud. Toward the later 90s, kogal was replaced by ganguro, a retro style characterized by deep tan, bright colors, and a lot of white makeup. The existence of ganguro is often credited to the gal Puritiri. Soon after that, manba and yamanba came into play. We'll go more in depth on these styles later, but just keep in mind that the ganguro movement isn't considered highly controversial today. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, the over-the-top styles soon faded away and were replaced by the more toned-down styles. From 2008 to 2011, it was considered to be the golden age of gyaru, with many celebrities and magazines hopping on the trend. In the mid-2010s, the style began to see its decline. It became way less popular, but gyaru who really loved the style would obviously wear it regardless. But today, the style has been revived, with many people being introduced to the subculture through the internet, including me. But what about all the different substyles of gyaru? The original style is the aforementioned kogal. It is greatly inspired by Japanese school uniforms, as stated before. They wore short skirts and platform boots back in the 90s. You could see them wearing scrunched up socks and loafers. Bags are a common accessory. Akeo is a mature style characterized by its glamour, femininity, and sexiness. This style is often worn by older gyaru. You can see a lot of leopard print, the color pink, and big intricate hairstyles. Goshiku is a goth-inspired style. The style has a lot of reds, blacks, and purples. Boots are common, as well as some punk-like accessories. This style does not require a tan whatsoever, and it is often confused with roku. BK is a controversial style simply due to its inspiration being black women. You can see a lot of black hairstyles, gold chains, and hip-hop-like clothing. It is very out of date, and most gyaru and people outside the community do not condone it as it is appropriative and even blackfishing in some cases. Roku is rock and visual kei inspired gyaru. You see a lot of reds and blacks. Boots and leather jackets are seen. This style does not have very strict restrictions, so it has a lot of room for creativity. Ganguro, the style mentioned in the history section, is characterized by a tan and white makeup on the face. It was a very vivid way of expressing yourself and showing your freedom. There are many tropical elements, bright colors, and deco nails. There's not as much coordination as opposed to the other styles. You can see them decorating their faces with stickers, wearing pony bead bracelets, and sporting childish accessories. Ganguro girls are barely seen today, but their impact has definitely left its mark on the community. Amekaiji, directly translating to American casual, is a style inspired by a bright, colorful, and fictionalized version of America, as it was seen in the early 2000s in teens and children's media. There are a lot of things common with the style. Chunky sneakers, hats, overalls, and baggy clothing, for example. Hime-gyaru is a princess-inspired style. It is characterized by big hair with bows and or tiaras. Pink frilly dresses are the most common choice of clothing. There are many similarities to Lolita, however the dresses are usually much shorter. Gyaru is the male version of gyaru. They often have big blonde teased hair, wear patterns and jeans. However, it is a very broad term. I'm gonna briefly touch on some other substyles here. Manba is characterized by a deep tan and white makeup on the eyes and cheeks, as well as white lips. Yamanba is manba on steroids, as it is based on a Japanese witch by the same name who has very dark skin and a messy white hair. Both of these styles are not okay as they tan too deep. I recommend doing your own research on these two styles. Hime-kaiji is a casual version of hime. Oni is a big sister type style. It is more mature and developed than other styles. Ane is alternative to Oni in the sense that it is an older sister style to Roku and Goshiku, sporting more dark clothing. Banba is a lighter version of Manba, only with makeup around the eyes. Suyume is an even more toned down version of Banba. Shiro is a term for gyaru who do not tan, and finally, Roma is a romantic version of gyaru. I am aware that there are more styles, but if I were to explain every single substyle, I'd be here all day. Let's talk a little about controversy and misconceptions surrounding gyaru. Some say gyaru is blackfishing and even blackface. Although manba and yamanba would be considered problematic today, it was truly a different time in Japan. I hate that excuse in most cases, but here it is mostly true. Doing these styles today is disgusting though and should not be done under any circumstances. This does not mean that there aren't gyaru out there who do blackfish. In the community there is a rule that you shouldn't tan deeper than you naturally would, i.e. 2 to 3 shades darker. Gyaru in and of itself is not blackface or blackfishing. Throughout Japanese media, gyaru have been very sexualized. The style itself is not sexual though. Gals are very loud and outspoken as opposed to the Japanese standard of being quiet and withdrawn. From what I've heard and read, gyaru circles give each other straightforward comments as a sign of love in a way. For example, your hair looks bad today, you need to fix it. These comments are not mean, they're constructive and loving. But from an outsider looking in, it is very understandable that many think gals are inherently mean. As with any community, there are bound to be various bitchy people, of course. Not all gyaru are nice, but most that I've talked to are very nice. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this peek into this giant and amazing subculture as much as I enjoyed learning about it. I'll try to link some videos in the description if you'd like to learn more. Until next time, goodbye.